All right, comrades, welcome back to the most blood-boiling epic of politics and war in Chinese history. Deep Dive, Three Kingdoms, EP5, with me, Brother Tong, as always. Let's do a quick recap of the intensity from EP4. Do you comrades still remember the life-saving dropped chopsticks scene? After Liu Bei pulled off his Oscar-winning acting skills, pretending to be a coward terrified of thunder, successfully deceiving the eagle Cao Cao into signing the approval to release him from the golden cage of Zhang. As soon as he passed the city gates, Liu Bei was like a dragon breaking free from his chains. He didn't go to suppress Yuan Shu as agreed, but instead stabbed Cao Cao in the back, turning his horse around and leading 50,000 soldiers to casually retake his old stronghold, Su province. Furthermore, he ruthlessly executed Chou, the general Cao Cao sent to guard the city. This was a blatant slap to Cao Cao's face in broad daylight. Cut back to the capital, Suchang, comrades. Try to imagine Cao Cao sitting there reading the express rider's report. The arrogant Cao Cao, who thought he could read people perfectly his whole life, ended up playing the fool, completely duped by a mat seller. Cao Cao was so furious his blood boiled, veins throbbing at his temples and his beard trembling. He swept all the bamboo scrolls off his desk onto the floor, drew his sword, and chopped his desk clean in half. He roared across the command room, "You big-eared Liu Bei! How dare you stroke my whiskers and trample on my mercy? Now I will use the blood of a fake dragon like you to wash my feet." The Prime Minister's wrath wasn't just hot air. It came with a grand army of 200,000 men full of killing machines. Cao Cao ordered the entire army to march towards Su province like a dark tsunami. Cavalry and infantry marching, iron armor clashing loudly, the ground shaking until dust obscured the sun, darkening the sky. On Liu Bei's side, hearing that Cao Cao's tsunami of vengeance was heading straight for him, he turned pale, sweating profusely, nearly fainting. He only had a handful of soldiers. Fighting a 200,000-strong army was like throwing eggs at a rock. Zhang Fei, the fiery youngest brother, couldn't stand seeing his big brother stressed, so he proposed a desperate battle plan. A night raid on the camp, hoping to seize the opportunity when Cao Cao's troops had just arrived and were exhausted, to burn their camp and scatter them. That night, in the dead of the moonless night, with a chilling wind blowing, Zhang Fei led the vanguard and Liu Bei led the main force, riding their horses to breach Cao Cao's camp like a lightning strike. Liu Bei's soldiers raised their torches, setting the tents ablaze. But comrades, when Zhang Fei breached the center of the command camp, his eyes widened in absolute shock, because the entire camp was empty. Not a single shadow of Cao Cao's soldiers could be seen. Every tent only had straw dummies left behind. Zhang Fei's heart dropped to his ankles as he screamed at the top of his lungs, "We're screwed, big brother! We walked into a trap!" Boom! Before he even finished his sentence, signal firecrackers exploded loudly across the valley. Suddenly, Cao Cao's army, which had been hiding in the darkness, burst out from every direction, surrounding Liu Bei's army like ants swarming a feast. Flaming arrows rained down from the sky. Liu Bei's soldiers were hacked down and died everywhere, and agonizing screams echoed across the battlefield. Comrades! Cao Cao is a military genius. He completely saw through an impulsive man like Zhang Fei, set up an empty camp to welcome his guests, and then ambushed them from behind in the most cold-blooded way. The battlefield that night was a true nightmare. Liu Bei's army was utterly crushed, and the three Peach Garden brothers who swore to die together were blown apart by the storm of war, completely scattered. Zhang Fei fought his way out covered in blood, his soldiers wiped out, and had to flee deep into the forest up Mount Mangdang all alone. As for Liu Bei, he barely escaped with his life, galloping north in tatters, abandoning his children, his wives, and his brothers, hoping to seek refuge with his old enemy, Yuan Shao, just to survive. The greatness Liu Bei had just envisioned crumbled in a single night. But comrades, the most painful part of this night wasn't Liu Bei's defeat, but the fate of another man who knew nothing about the camp raid. The man left behind to guard Xiapi all alone, along with the ladies, Liu Bei's 2 wives. The next morning, Cao Cao's grand army of hundreds of thousands, which had just crushed Liu Bei to a pulp, marched to surround the walls of Xiapi at every gate like an iron wall. Guan Yu, the god of loyalty, was now a rat trapped in a cage with no way out, no reinforcements, and most importantly, he had the lives and dignity of his sisters-in-law on the line. How will Guan Yu face Cao Cao's tsunami of vengeance right at the city gates? The deepest psychological warfare is about to begin in Part 2. Cut back to Xiapi, comrades. The atmosphere now is gloomy and so tense it's suffocating. Cao Cao's grand army of hundreds of thousands surrounded the walls of Xiapi as tightly as a steel wall. Not even an ant could crawl out. Guan Yu stood, stroking his beard, holding his green dragon crescent blade on the city wall, looking down at an endless sea of enemy battle flags. In his heart, he had absolutely no fear of death, but he was bearing immense pressure because the primary duty entrusted to him by his big brother was to protect the ladies, his 2 sisters-in-law, and keep them safe. Cao Cao's side knew of Guan Yu's reputation very well, knowing this supreme general was as formidable as an incarnate god of war. Ordering soldiers to scale the walls for a direct clash would surely result in massive casualties. And importantly, Cao Cao was deeply obsessed with Guan Yu to his bones, desperately wanting this man to be his right-hand man. Therefore, Cao Cao deployed the luring the tiger out of the cave stratagem, ordering his fierce, one-eyed general, Xiahou Dun, to lead the cavalry to shout insults and challenge Guan Yu at the city gates. Xiahou Dun dug up Guan Yu's ancestry to hurl all sorts of vile insults, trampling his manly dignity, until Guan Yu, who was normally calm, had his blood boil in fury, veins throbbing at his temples. Out of fierce pride, Guan Yu couldn't bear the insult, ordered the gates opened, and galloped out to strike Xiahou Dun with his blade instantly. Xiahou Dun fought back just for show, then faked a retreat and galloped away. Guan Yu, seething with anger, chased closely behind him. But comrades, that was exactly the deadly trap Cao Cao had dug for him. Once Guan Yu chased him far from the city, Cao Cao's waiting ambush troops swarmed out to cut off his retreat, surrounding him front and back like an inescapable net. Meanwhile, Cao Cao's main army took the opportunity while Guan Yu left the city to breach and capture Xiapi, successfully seizing the 2 ladies. Guan Yu tried to break through the encirclement to save his sisters-in-law, but was pinned down by a rain of arrows until he was forced to retreat and get trapped on a small mountain called Mount Tushan. That night, Guan Yu stood alone on the mountain peak amidst the howling, cold wind. He looked down to see the captured city of Xiapi, with Cao Cao's soldiers lighting torches brightly everywhere. Guan Yu gripped his blade handle so tightly he drew blood, thinking he made a massive mistake, losing the city, losing his sisters-in-law, and seeing his built-up dignity shatter in an instant. He made a firm decision to ride down and fight to the death, to wash away his shame with blood in the afterlife. But at that very second, comrades, Cao Cao, who was commanding the army at the foot of the mountain, ordered the entire camp, "No one is allowed to shoot arrows. Anyone who gives Guan Yu even a scratch like a cat's claw, I will behead their entire family down to the 7th generation." Then Cao Cao sent Zhang Liao, a general with excellent eloquence and an old, dear friend of Guan Yu, riding up the mountain unarmed to negotiate a truce. As soon as Zhang Liao rode to the peak, Guan Yu pointed his blade right at his face. "Are you here to persuade me to surrender to a rebel like Cao Cao? Go back. I, Guan Yu, am ready to die on the battlefield. I am not a coward afraid of death." Zhang Liao was unfazed. He smirked and unleashed the ultimate psychological warfare, the 3 crimes of dying, hitting Guan Yu right in the face. "Lord Guan, if you want to die, it's very easy. Just put your neck on the blade. But if you die today, you will become a sinner guilty of 3 crimes. First, you swore in the peach garden to live and die with Liu Bei. But today, Lord Liu Bei is not dead yet, and you want to die to escape your problems first. This is breaking your oath and abandoning your brothers. Second, Liu Bei entrusted his family and his wives to you. If you die, Cao Cao will take them as prisoners or ravage them. This is ingratitude and abandoning your assigned duty. And third, you have godlike skills. Instead of keeping your life to help Liu Bei restore the Han Dynasty in the future, you choose to die worthlessly on this small hill. This is the ultimate foolishness." Boom! Zhang Liao's words were like a sledgehammer hitting Guan Yu squarely in the face. Guan Yu stood stunned. The green dragon blade in his hand that was raised high slowly lowered. He realized instantly that every word Zhang Liao said was right. If he died right now, the dignity he maintained his whole life would become meaningless, and his sisters-in-law would suffer greatly. Guan Yu let out a long sigh, closed his eyes to suppress the pain, then changed his stance, puffing his chest majestically, and declared the 3 conditions that shook the earth in exchange for his surrender. "Zhang Liao, if the Prime Minister wants me to come down from this mountain, he must accept these 3 conditions. Condition 1, I will only surrender to Emperor Xian and the Han Dynasty, not to Cao Cao himself. Condition 2, Cao Cao must take care of my sisters-in-law honorably, giving them a stipend equal to the wives of an imperial uncle, and strictly forbids any soldier, or even Cao Cao himself, from stepping foot near the ladies' quarters. And condition 3, which is the most important, as soon as I find out where Liu Bei, my big brother, is alive, no matter if the path is 1,000 li away or how many dangers await, I will take my leave to find him immediately, without needing to wait for Cao Cao's permission. Comrades, try to imagine how insulting these conditions were to Cao Cao. Surrendering but refusing to call the boss his master, and openly declaring he will ride off to the enemy whenever he wants. If any other general dared to say this, Cao Cao would have ordered them minced into pork meat. But when this extreme proposal reaches the ears of the eagle of the era, how will Cao Cao decide? Will he swallow his pride and accept the conditions in exchange for the god of war? Or will he order the mountain flattened? We will continue the action in Part 3. When Zhang Liao rode down Mount Tushan and relayed Guan Yu's 3 conditions to Cao Cao word for word. Comrades, the atmosphere in the command tent was so tense you could slice the air with a knife. When Cao Cao heard the first condition, surrender to the emperor, not Cao Cao, he smirked, because the emperor was just a puppet in his hands anyway. For the second condition, to take good care of the ladies, Cao Cao nodded comfortably. However, when Zhang Liao mentioned the third condition, if he knows where Liu Bei is, he will leave Cao Cao to find Liu Bei immediately without permission. Boom! This sentence was like rubbing a foot on the eagle's face in the middle of a crossroad. The moment Cao Cao heard it, his mustache twitched and his blood boiled with fury. He slammed the wooden table until it cracked with a loud bang and roared across the tent. Hey, this is too insulting. I am the Prime Minister with boundless power. If I accept this condition, what is the point of raising him? Raising him to waste rice, and when his wings are strong, he rides away back to my enemy? Dream on. As Cao Cao finished, fierce generals like Su Chu and Xiahou Dun drew their swords with a clack. They prepared to lead the troops up the mountain to hack Guan Yu into minced meat. But at that second, Zhang Liao, the ultimate strategist and negotiator, rushed forward to block them, clasping his hands and kneeling to persuade Cao Cao with god-tier eloquence immediately. "Prime Minister, please calm your anger. You are a man with a heart as vast as the ocean. Please listen to me for a moment. Guan Yu is a man of pride who values his oaths more than his life. He made these conditions because he still remembers his old debt to Liu Bei. But think about it, sir. What is so great about Liu Bei? He's just a wanderer. If the Prime Minister accepts these conditions and uses your greatness and wealth to win his heart with mercy, treating him hundreds and thousands of times better than Liu Bei ever did, one day, even a mountain of stone must erode. Water dripping on stone every day will eventually break it. Will Guan Yu's heart not soften and truly surrender to you, sir?" Cao Cao, who had the broad vision of a genius, listened to Zhang Liao's words, and his eyes lit up. He knew well that a supreme general like Guan Yu could not be bought with a sword to his throat. Cao Cao closed his eyes, took a deep breath, swallowed the blood of his anger and manly ego, and nonchalantly nodded to accept all three conditions. Thus, the earth-shaking negotiation ended. Guan Yu laid down his weapons, came down from the mountain, and took the two ladies back to Xuchang along with Cao Cao's army. But comrades, Cao Cao was not just a great warrior. He was the ultimate CEO of psychological warfare. During the journey back to Xuchang, Cao Cao secretly tested Guan Yu's loyalty with the most morally pressing, dirty trick. One night, when the army stopped to rest, Cao Cao deliberately prepared only one house with just one room for Guan Yu and the two ladies, sisters-in-law, to stay in together. Cao Cao ordered soldiers to lock the door from the outside. He thought cunningly to himself, "Guan Yu is a muscular, full-grown man who has been away from women for a long time. Trapped in a cramped room, alone with beautiful women on such a freezing night, he won't be able to resist the temptation and will definitely commit an immoral act against his sisters-in-law. And once he breaks, his reputation as the god of loyalty will be ruined, and Liu Bei will never forgive him forever. Then, Guan Yu will belong solely to me." But Cao Cao underestimated the god too much. That night, heavy snow fell, and the freezing wind whipped against the skin, but Guan Yu refused to step a single foot inside the bedroom. He lit a lantern for light and stood perfectly straight outside the door amidst the blizzard. His right hand held the spring and autumn annals, reading it calmly, while his left hand gripped the handle of the green dragon blade, standing guard to protect the honor of his sisters-in-law majestically from dusk till dawn. The secret guards who were spying rushed to report to Cao Cao. Upon hearing this, Cao Cao's jaw dropped, and he got goosebumps all over. His respect for Guan Yu shot through the roof. Cao Cao realized instantly that this man could not be bought with lust. When the procession arrived at the capital Xuchang, Cao Cao didn't give up. He immediately turned on his Super VIP Sugar Daddy promotion mode. Hoping to melt Guan Yu's attitude with wealth, Cao Cao went all out, hosting a small banquet every 3 days and a grand banquet every 5 days, showering him endlessly with luxurious food, wine, and women. He gave him gold bars, jade ornaments, fine silk, and sent 10 gorgeous beauties to serve him right at his estate. But what was the result? Guan Yu assigned all the beauties to attend to his sisters-in-law, and piled all the money and gold into the treasury, locking it tightly, refusing to spend a single penny on himself. Until one day, an incident occurred that almost made Cao Cao cough up blood. Cao Cao noticed that Guan Yu's robe was faded, old, and torn. Cao Cao ordered the royal artisans to weave a gold-broidered robe, the most beautiful and expensive in the land, and personally presented it to Guan Yu. Guan Yu accepted the new robe humbly. But do you comrades know what he did next? Guan Yu wore the new gold-broidered robe that Cao Cao gave him on the inside, and then took the old, torn robe and wore it on the outside, covering the new robe again. Seeing that, Cao Cao frowned in confusion and asked, "Lord Guan, I went to the trouble of giving you a beautiful new robe. Why do you wear your old, torn robe over it to hide it inside?" Guan Yu turned, clasped his hands, and answered with a voice as firm as a mountain. "This old robe, Big Brother Liu Bei gave it to me. Even though it is old and torn, I cannot forget the kindness and goodwill of my big brother. Therefore, I cannot let the new robe the Prime Minister gave me overshadow my big brother's old robe, sir." Boom! After hearing that, Cao Cao's face went numb to the back of his neck. It felt like being slapped in the face in the middle of a crossroad. He stood stunned and speechless for a long while. In the eagle's heart now, there was only jealousy and sorrow. The more he showered him with wealth, the more clearly he realized that Liu Bei had something more precious than power, which was a heart that Cao Cao could never buy. But Cao Cao still didn't give up. He prepared to pull out his final trump card to play in Part 4. The trump card that once belonged to the god of war, Liu Bei. Cao Cao's defeat in the Sugar Daddy War over the gold-broidered robe didn't end there, comrades. When trying to please him with ordinary items didn't work, Cao Cao, who never gave up on his goals, had to pull out his final legendary trump card to play. One day, while Cao Cao and Guan Yu were riding out to inspect the military camp together, Cao Cao noticed that the warhorse Guan Yu was riding looked emaciated, panting heavily, and completely exhausted. The reason was that it had to bear the weight of Guan Yu, who was 9 chi tall, over 2 meters, plus carrying the green dragon blade weighing 82 jin all the time. What ordinary horse could handle that? Cao Cao saw a golden opportunity served right to his door, so he smirked and ordered a trusted soldier to lead out a certain supreme war horse. As soon as that horse stepped out of the camp gates, the surrounding atmosphere instantly changed. It was a massive, muscular war horse, its coat a glossy, fiery red all over, like glowing embers, without a single hair of any other color. When it bucked and neighed, the sound echoed thunderously across the camp. That's right, comrades. It was the Red Hare, the #1 steed in the land, which was once the trusted mount of the executed god of war, Liu Bei. Cao Cao puffed his chest with pride, held up the reins, and announced he was gifting this Red Hare to Guan Yu. The moment he received the horse, comrades, Guan Yu, who normally had a stoic red face like a carved statue and never showed emotion over anything, suddenly had his eyes light up, widened his eyes, and was thrilled beyond measure. He even dropped to his knees on the ground, clasping his hands and bowing to Cao Cao with the utmost respect for the first time since they had known each other. Seeing Guan Yu kneel to him, Cao Cao smiled so broadly his cheeks almost burst. He thought to himself arrogantly, "Ha ha ha, I finally found your weakness. I've bought your heart, you beautiful bearded man." So Cao Cao playfully tested him with a question. "It's really strange, Lord Guan. I gave you chests of gold, dozens of beautiful women, and fine silk, yet you never showed this much joy. So why, when I give you just a single beast, You actually kneel and bow to me. Comrades, Guan Yu's answer in the very next second was a sentence that ripped Cao Cao's heart into shreds. Guan Yu looked up, his eyes fiercely determined, and answered with a booming voice. I know well that this Red Hare is a supreme steed, capable of running 1,000 li a day without getting tired. The reason I am so overjoyed is that if one day I find a clue to where my big brother Liu Bei is, I will be able to ride this horse and gallop to find my big brother much faster, within a single day, sir. Boom! Cao Cao felt like he was struck by lightning on the head for the 108th time. His blooming smile instantly vanished. He completely lost face. The Prime Minister's feeling right now was like a sugar daddy who splashed cash to buy a high-end sports car for a girl he liked, only for the girl to reply, "Thanks, now I can drive this car to see my ex-boyfriend faster." Cao Cao let out a long sigh, feeling so sorrowful he almost cried, thinking only one sentence to himself. I'm screwed. I literally just gave wings to a tiger. But being a national-level leader, Cao Cao had to force a smile, brush it off, and bide his time. Until the opportunity for Guan Yu to repay his debt and free himself arrived. When Cao Cao's army had to clash with Yuan Shao's massive army at the Battle of Boma. Comrades, this scene is intensely epic. Yuan Shao's top generals, named Liang and Chou, were incredibly skilled and fierce, hacking down Cao Cao's soldiers and generals like falling leaves until none of Cao Cao's generals dared to ride out and fight anymore. Cao Cao was so stressed his hair turned gray, but at that second, the god came to the rescue. Guan Yu volunteered to go to battle to repay Cao Cao's kindness. Guan Yu rode the Red Hare, charging into the battlefield like a god descending to pass judgment. The Red Hare ran overwhelmingly fast, tearing through the enemy army of tens of thousands like swimming through water. Guan Yu closed the distance and swung his green dragon blade just once. He chopped off Liang's head, sending it flying and dropping him from his horse before he even realized. And shortly after, he rode over and sliced Chou in half, achieving a legendary, massive merit that shook the entire land. Seeing this masterpiece of a performance, Cao Cao loved and cherished Guan Yu even more. Guan Yu believed that the debt he owed Cao Cao was officially cleansed with the blood of the enemy's top generals, and as if heaven favored him, finally, the day Guan Yu was waiting for arrived, when a spy and a traveling merchant smuggled top-secret news reporting that Liu Bei was still alive, and he was currently hiding with Yuan Shao in the north. Guan Yu's heart swelled. The preparation to break free, abandoning massive wealth, and the eagle's most painful farewell is about to erupt in Part 5, comrades. As soon as Guan Yu received the secret news that his big brother was still alive, it was as if heaven had opened the way, comrades. When a traveling merchant smuggled a secret letter and delivered it to Guan Yu at his estate, the moment Guan Yu broke the seal and saw the familiar handwriting, his knees gave out. The tears of a manly warrior who had slain countless generals streamed down his cheeks without any shame. Because that was the handwriting of Liu Bei, the big brother he loved as much as his own life. In the letter, Liu Bei complained with deep self-pity. The three of us swore in the peach garden to live and die together. But today I am destitute with no one to rely on, having to flee for my life to live with Yuan Shao, while you are with Cao Cao, enjoying wealth, status, and praise. If you have forgotten our oath and forgotten this brother, I pray that your merits protect you and grant you happiness with Cao Cao forever. Comrades, the words enjoying wealth and forgotten our oath in the letter were like a poisoned razor slashing deep into the core of the god of loyalty's heart. Guan Yu bawled until he trembled. He felt an immense sin for letting his big brother suffer while he sat comfortably eating luxurious food. Guan Yu wiped his tears, stood up with eyes that shifted to level 10 determination. He ordered his two sisters-in-law to pack only the old clothes they had with them since day one onto the carriage, preparing to leave immediately. As for himself, comrades, his heroism here is so cool and proud, you have to stand up and clap. Guan Yu ordered every single gift Cao Cao had ever showered him with, gold bars, jade ornaments, chests of fine silk, to be piled up in the main hall, then covered them with cloth and sealed them shut, making a complete inventory to return every single penny. Even the official seal of Han Shaoting Marquis that Cao Cao went out of his way to request from the emperor for him, Guan Yu tied it with a string and left it dangling from the roof beam in the middle of the estate. He refused to take a single item Cao Cao had given him, except for the red hare. After handling everything, Guan Yu rode his horse to the front of the Prime Minister's estate to say his goodbyes to Cao Cao face to face, following the manners of a gentleman. But the brilliant Cao Cao saw right through the game. Cao Cao knew that if Guan Yu came to say goodbye, and he agreed, it would be equal to releasing a tiger into the forest. But if he refused, he would become an oath-breaker who went back on his word. Therefore, Cao Cao used psychological warfare, ordering soldiers to hang a "No Visitors, Severe Illness" sign blocking the door, absolutely refusing to come out and face him. Guan Yu turned to his dear friend Zhang Liao, hoping he could help with the matter. But Zhang Liao also faked an illness and locked his estate doors to avoid him. Guan Yu instantly knew Cao Cao was using his stalling for time ultimate move, hoping Guan Yu would be too considerate to leave. But for Guan Yu, honor and his big brother were more important than fake manners. Guan Yu asked for a brush and paper, writing a farewell letter left in front of Cao Cao's estate, containing the iconic sentence, "I came to serve you openly, and now I shall leave openly. If there is a next life, I will return to repay your kindness." After finishing the letter, Guan Yu clasped his hands to bow to the closed estate, turned around, and rode the Red Hare, leading the carriage procession galloping out of Su Chang's gates immediately. The news of Guan Yu's escape spread to Cao Cao's ears. Fierce generals like Liang and Su Chu were furiously red in the face. They drew their swords and shouted across the meeting room, "That Guan Yu is too arrogant. He has no respect for the Prime Minister. I request 3,000 fast cavalry to chase him down, chop his head off, and display it in front of the city right now." But comrades, the great Cao Cao instead let out a long sigh, raising his hand to stop all the generals. His eagle eyes were filled with sorrow and absolute regret. Cao Cao spoke a sentence that won the hearts of the entire land. "A master chooses his servant, and a servant has the right to choose his master. Everything Guan Yu has done is to uphold his manly oath. It is not ingratitude towards us. I promised him I would let him go, and I will absolutely not break my word and let the whole land criticize me." Cao Cao ordered his subordinates to grab a brand new gold-broidered robe, and he personally rode out, leading his generals to quickly chase after Guan Yu, not to kill him, but to see him off, to honor the man he loved the most. When Cao Cao caught up at the Baqiao Bridge, Guan Yu saw the soldiers following and got suspicious. He ordered the carriage to cross the bridge first, while he rode back to block the middle of the bridge, raising his green dragon blade, taking a stance, ready to fight to the death. Cao Cao rode out, smiling from afar, shouting that he didn't come to fight, just to give him a robe to keep out the cold. But Guan Yu was highly cautious and absolutely refused to dismount. He used the tip of his green dragon blade to carefully scoop up and hook the gold-broidered robe onto his shoulder. It was a powerful image that slightly insulted Cao Cao's honor. Guan Yu clasped his hands in respect on horseback, then spurred the Red Hare across the bridge, disappearing into the mist, leaving Cao Cao standing there, watching the shadow of the Supreme General leaving, never to return. But comrades, this journey stepping out of Suchang is truly stepping onto the path to hell. Because Guan Yu fled without a border pass. Cao Cao's 5 strongest checkpoints, along with 6 top generals, are fortifying their positions, waiting for Guan Yu's arrival like a wall of death. How will Guan Yu unleash his God of War level ruthlessness to slash through and open this bloody path? The epic feat of crossing 5 passes and slaying 6 generals, the most intense in the 3 kingdoms, is about to explode in EP.5, comrades. Anyone who doesn't want to miss this world-historic action scene, smash the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to wait for it. For today, Brother Tong has to go ride the Red Hare to prepare to open the passes. Goodbye.